Hello everyone, I'm Raven from Raven Comics, and today we'll continue with the Future's End story. This story is somewhat difficult to tell because of the many events that happened before this one, but I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. We begin in a bar. The guys who want to break into Mr. Terrific's industries are still arguing about how dangerous this mission is. Terry, without his suit, approaches them and asks if they need another man. Coyle plays dumb, saying he doesn't know what Terry is talking about. Terry tells them they aren't friends, but he knows they want to break into Mr. Terrific's industries. To gain their trust, Terry reveals he was the Batman in the park. He doesn't need them to know who he is, only that they need his help. They'll be glad to know he was inside the industries before. Terry shows them a map of the interior to make their access easier. Surprisingly, they are in the same bar where Tim Drake supposedly works, watching them from behind the counter. Key isn't comfortable with the support and asks if they really trust Terry. Terry suggests they might just need some fresh air to think clearly. There's an air vent on the 22nd floor, and he can point the way. Key grabs Terry's hand, but Terry punches him, then slams his head against the table, spilling several drinks. Terry heads to the bar for a cloth, and Tim asks what he just did. Terry says it was a variation of the Tongan Death Punch. He knows the man who created the non-lethal variant. Tim asks if that man has mentioned him, but Terry isn't sure. Since Tim is watching him, does he want to continue this conversation elsewhere? Meanwhile, Key is still recovering. In deep space, Frankenstein, Amethyst, and Hawkman are aboard a ship when suddenly it spirals out of control. Hawkman has no idea what's happening. As soon as they enter the planet's orbit, all primary systems shut down. Now they're falling. Frankenstein looks in bad shape. He needs to move as smoke fills the ship. After crashing, they go outside to investigate and discover something they never imagined on Earth. On a TV broadcast, Mr. Terrific announces the upcoming release of the Usphere technology, the same tech the vagabonds want to steal. No one will have it because of this man, although they're unsure if they should call him an alien. Security footage inside Terrific's industries shows them developing advanced technology for Earth's benefit. The question is, where does this alien come from, and why is he trying to steal their technology? The faster they find him, the quicker they'll get answers. Meanwhile, at the Justice League's Omega Defense Station, Ronnie is transported to the station. Upon arrival, he asks, "Since when does the Justice League snatch people off the streets?" Someone responds, "Since one of its most powerful members started acting like a spoiled brat, incapable of playing well with others. They regret bringing him this way, but everyone knew that if they asked, he would refuse." Ronnie and Jason are Firestorm. That's not something that can just be set aside so easily. Ronnie tells Jason that he must be behind all of this. Jason denies any involvement, saying he doesn't even want to merge again. But they brought Ronnie here. An argument begins, and in the middle of the discussion, Jason reveals that Green Arrow died because of Ronnie. Roy confronts Ronnie again, and Flash wonders if this is supposed to bring Firestorm back. So far, the Justice League doesn't know exactly what happened. Diana tells Ronnie that if he has something to confess, it would be best to do it now. It's true that they were late to help Oliver that day. When Oliver was in trouble, Ronnie ignored Jason's calls because he was busy with a girl. But they shouldn't judge him. He never signed up to be Firestorm full-time. It's true that he could have prevented that death, but when it came to saving his mother, he couldn't do anything. Well, that was war, and everyone suffered greatly. Ronnie lost the most important thing in his life. He's given all he could to the Justice League, and Firestorm is finished. Jason declares he won't share his body again. Roy Harper, Green Arrow's replacement, can fill Firestorm's role easily. On an unknown planet, Amethyst wonders where they are. Machines detect them as carbon-based life forms. Frankenstein suggests a diplomatic approach and steps forward to greet the robots, saying they come from Earth in peace. Suddenly, the robots attack him. So much for diplomacy. It's time to fight. Although Frankenstein gave them the benefit of the doubt, he can smell the evil within them. Now, these evil machines deserve the same fate as wicked men. Frankenstein vows vengeance and smashes one machine, but is struck in the face. Amethyst thought she could scare them off, but more keep coming. Hawkman notices Frankenstein bleeding human blood and wonders what kind of robotic sorcery this is. Suddenly, Angie arrives, asking why these beings aren't contained. The robots failed their programming. The new order: self-destruct and prepare for recycling. Hawkman recognizes Angie and tries talking to her, but she doesn't respond. Instead, cables emerge from her mouth, electrocuting them. Meanwhile, in Metropolis, Rampage reveals to Ethan why she freed him. She once worked for Lex Luthor's genetic research labs. Unexpectedly, one of their experiments went wrong, turning her into what she is now. Now Boyer has been freed. As a token of gratitude, he will be the one to help her regain her true form. Ethan grabs her and places something on her head. This will help her maintain control, or so he claims. In reality, it's a lie. Now that she's incapacitated, she needs to know this won't be a cure. If anything, it will make her stronger and wilder. What's next for her is to tear half the city apart. Superman won't have time to look for him, so he'll be able to return home. We'll now travel 35 years into the future after Batman's death. This is Arkham Asylum. Prisoner 0017 must prepare. The prisoner resists, but brother, I can do whatever it wants. And that's exactly what it will do. Nutrient flows are being implemented. The process is complete. The prisoner prays to be poisoned one of these days, despite not even believing in God. The Joker can't take it anymore and wants to be killed right now. Frankenstein tells him that's not possible. Prisoner 0017 has been kept alive because Brother Eye has a plan for him. That plan is about to begin. Brother Eye's words are orders. The Joker's human life is over. He is to be taken for surgery. And that's how it all ends for the Joker. An insane man, amputated and left to rot on a cold, stainless steel surgical tray, just like in the old days. But before he can continue speaking, he stops, unable to believe who he sees in front of him. Batman is hooked up to machines, kept alive, and his arm is already undergoing rehabilitation. Bruce Wayne opens his eyes and locks gazes with the Joker, who then bursts into his classic laughter. Back in the present, in Key's workshop, he mentions they've partnered with a public enemy now being hunted worldwide. News reports are asking if this will be another invasion. Terry enters the room, and Key sarcastically remarks that he probably brought police or Terrific Industries security with him. Terry dismisses his paranoia, saying no one followed him. Now they need to talk business. He wants to review the schematics again before they go in. The group is determined. If Terry works with them, the mission will fail. He's too well known. Terry then offers to go in alone. Well, that's easier said than done, because breaking into the industries isn't just Terry's job. Plastic prepares and attacks him before he can do anything to them. In Montreal, Canada, Big Barda walks the streets, thinking she shouldn't be in public view. After the war, she stopped caring. Everyone she cared about is gone. When the war happened, the world lost trust in those from other places. Refugees became invaders. As an invader, Big Barda's persona had to die. Emiko tells her people are misinformed about the war. Many think the heroes are dead, but they're actually prisoners. Big Barda doesn't believe her, but Emiko says she can prove it. She can show her. But first, they need to find Lois Lane in Metropolis. Big Barda doubts they'll ever cross the border legally. Emiko doesn't care. She'll handle it. Suddenly, a little girl named Susie appears before them, saying her dad is missing. Emiko reassures her that they can help. Susie says he was there, then vanished. Big Barda doesn't like this at all. Susie runs, and they follow her down some hallways. Susie turns and mocks them for falling into the trap. Now that Deathstroke has cornered them, he gives Big Barda a choice: surrender to the global peace agency he works for or be exterminated. Of course, Big Barda won't go down without a fight and lands a solid punch on Deathstroke. It's time to deal with Susie. The girl begs them not to hurt her, claiming she was manipulated into trapping them. Emiko isn't fooled and aims an arrow at her. Susie uses her powers, firing a beam at Big Barda. Emiko tries to attack and fires an arrow at Susie, but it misses. Deathstroke taunts her, saying this is out of her league. Emiko recalls her brother Green Arrow's words and realizes who they're up against. She uses one of her arrows to hit him in the neck. It's time to defeat Susie. To do so, Big Barda must throw her into the air. Once she does, Emiko fires an explosive arrow, causing severe damage to Susie, who bursts into flames. Both take advantage of this and escape while their enemies suffer the consequences. Back with Terry, Plastique asks Key not to harm him further since he could help them break into Terrify Tech. Key refuses, saying Terry would only lead them to prison. Coil agrees, but insists they lower their weapons first. He promises they'll end Terry's life, but in Coil's way, by making his death look natural, using Batman's magnetic field tied to his nervous system. While everyone is distracted, Batman recovers and attacks Key with a batarang, delivering several punches. Plastique stops the fight, threatening to blow the place up if they don't stop. Coil tells her to calm down, but Plastique is determined. They must choose: work together or die together. Meanwhile, Lois Lane continues investigating the clues she received. At first, she thought they were coordinates, but when she arrived, there was only water. Suddenly, something happens to the diamond she was given, and she starts having visions of Red Tornado. At the same time, Superman is still battling Rampage. She's been avoiding him for weeks. Although he knows she wants to be human again, Superman is focused on capturing Ethan Boyer and won't let her escape. Rampage distracts him by throwing a school bus off a bridge, forcing him to rescue it while she escapes. Lois meets Superman and asks for a private conversation. On a rooftop, she explains everything she's discovered since Green Arrow's death, including visions of OMC guards beating prisoners and a cyborg claiming to be her. Superman is unsure what to make of this. Lois questions his mask, believing his alien characteristics may be mutating him. She reassures him that the war changed everyone and acknowledges the terrible things he did to help. Superman, reluctant to remember, leaves to continue searching for Rampage. In the Horn of Africa, John Constantine has had a vision of an impending disaster and seeks the only man who can help. Elsewhere, on Cadmus Island, a government facility for advanced genetic and technological experiments, chaos brews. 50 Sue, a superhuman result of their experiments, is among the most dangerous outcomes. The island is crucial to Brother Eye's future plans and becomes a battleground for heroes, villains, and government agents vying for control. Deathstroke, having failed to capture Big Barda, faces backlash for his failure. Back with Lois Lane, her investigation leads her to Rampage again. Superman arrives, striking Rampage hard. Though he dislikes violence, he must stop her from harming others. Rampage retaliates, disarming a police officer and shooting Superman, shattering part of his helmet, then knocking him out of the area. Meanwhile, after her fight with Deathstroke, Emiko prepares. She's learned who the mercenary works for. With Diggle's help, she retrieves her brother's belongings and assumes his mantle. She is Emiko Queen, and even though Oliver is dead, the Queen name remains powerful. Her intelligence sources inform her about Lois Lane's actions, leading her to the same destination, Cadmus Island. Emiko is determined to destroy the man who killed her brother. Back with Superman, the tide turns as Rampage gains the upper hand, intending to kill him. Lois tries to defend him, but is struck down. Superman, seizing the moment, utters the magic word, Shazam. The lightning impacts Rampage, and both fall. Lois rushes to help, but is shocked to discover that beneath the mask is not Kal-El, but Billy. If Billy has taken Superman's place, what happened to the real Superman? For that, we must return to John Constantine in the Horn of Africa. After traversing the desert, he finds the only man who can save them from his terrifying visions of the future. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm TJ Prime, and see you in the next video.